This royal city sits high above the Sacred Valley of Peru, South America. The Inca believed that these mountains were gods.
For centuries, archaeologists have been baffled by one of history's greatest mysteries: how the Inca civilization built their massive stone walls with such impossible precision. No mortar, no modern tools, just perfectly fitted stones that have stood for over 500 years. But now, AI technology has done what humans never could. It has finally cracked the code. The results are shocking, and they may change everything we thought we knew about ancient engineering. Could the Incas have possessed lost knowledge? Or something even more mysterious? Stay tuned, because the truth will blow your mind. Stones that defy reason. Walk up to any wall in Machu Picchu and try this. Slip a sheet of paper between the stones. You can't. Try a credit card. Still nothing. These aren't small pebbles either. We're talking about gigantic blocks of volcanic andesite, each weighing several tons, carved and fitted together with surgical precision. Even with modern power tools, replicating this craftsmanship is nearly impossible. The Incas called it ashlar masonry, but that name doesn't do it justice. Each stone is a one-of-a-kind three-dimensional puzzle piece, carved to interlock perfectly with the ones around it. No cement, no mortar, no filler of any kind, just stone meeting stone, fitted so precisely that the seams are almost invisible. And yet, these walls have stood unshaken for over 500 years, enduring earthquakes, storms, and the relentless forces of time. Here's where it gets truly mysterious. When the Spanish conquistadors first laid eyes on these walls in the 1500s, they were stunned. They had never seen anything like it. Not in Rome, not in Greece, not anywhere in Europe. Some of them became convinced the Incas possessed a secret lost to time, a method to soften stone like clay, mold it perfectly, and then let it harden again. To them, it seemed like magic. To us, it's a reminder that ancient civilizations may have understood the world in ways we're only beginning to rediscover. Modern geologists have put the soft stone theory to the test, and the results are clear. The type of volcanic rock used by the Incas simply can't be softened without exposing it to temperatures above 1000 degrees Celsius. The problem? The Incas had no technology capable of reaching, let alone maintaining, that kind of heat on a scale large enough for the massive structures that still stand across their empire. And yet, somehow, they shaped stones weighing up to 200 tons, carved with intricate curves and angles so precise that each block could only fit in one specific spot. The level of mathematical accuracy involved is mind-blowing. Every angle and contour had to be calculated to distribute weight evenly across multiple contact points, all while compensating for the irregular shapes of neighbouring stones. One small mistake, and the entire wall could have collapsed. But the Incas got it right. Every single time, across hundreds of buildings spread throughout the Andes. What makes this even more baffling is the question of tools. Excavations have uncovered nothing more than bronze chisels, stone hammers, and wooden wedges. No pulleys, no wheels, no iron tools. According to everything we know about pre-Columbian technology, the Incas were working with what amounts to Stone Age equipment, yet somehow achieved engineering precision that would challenge even today's experts. Recent AI analysis has made the mystery even deeper. When scientists examined the microscopic surfaces where the stones touch, they found signs of repeated movement, tiny wear marks suggesting the stones weren't just placed once and left alone, but adjusted and repositioned multiple times until they achieved a perfect, seamless fit across the entire surface. But here's the question no one can answer. How do you make those fine adjustments with stones that weigh 50 tons or more using only primitive tools? And the precision doesn't stop there. Many walls include stones with deliberately curved surfaces, locking together in complex three-dimensional patterns. These aren't random or artistic choices. When researchers analysed the geometry, they found clear evidence of underlying mathematical principles. hints of advanced planning and calculation methods that we still can't fully explain. And this is only the beginning of what makes Inca stonework one of the greatest engineering mysteries in human history. The tool problem that broke history. Here's the uncomfortable truth that many archaeologists quietly avoid talking about. The Incas built some of the most advanced stone structures in human history, using tools that, by all logic, shouldn't have been capable of the job. The gap between what they had and what they achieved is so vast, it forces us to question our entire understanding of technological progress. Let's start with the basics. Bronze is softer than andesite, the volcanic rock used in most Inca walls. That's not speculation, it's basic metallurgy. You simply can't carve or shape a hard volcanic stone using a softer metal. It would be like trying to cut through steel with a butter knife. The physics just doesn't work. And yet, the Incas did it. They created stone blocks with edges so sharp and surfaces so smooth that they look almost machine-cut. Some scholars have suggested they might have used harder stone tools instead of metal. But there's a major problem with that theory. No such tools have ever been found. Across decades of excavations throughout the entire Inca Empire, archaeologists have unearthed thousands of bronze implements, but not a single tool capable of cutting andesite with that kind of precision. The absence of suitable tools has puzzled researchers for generations, and for some, it's driven them toward far more speculative explanations. In the 1970s, a group of modern engineers decided to put the mystery to the test. Using only the same types of tools the Incas had, bronze chisels, stone hammers, and simple wedges, they tried to replicate the Inca stonework. The results were humbling. Even with modern understanding of leverage, geometry, and material science, they couldn't come close to matching the precision or finish of the original walls. And the mystery doesn't end there. Many of the Inca stones have surfaces so polished and reflective that they bounce light like mirrors. Achieving that kind of finish on volcanic rock requires extremely fine abrasives and countless hours of careful work. Experiments have shown that using primitive tools, it would take a single skilled craftsman around 6 months just to polish one stone to that standard. So the question remains, how did a civilization without iron, wheels, or advanced machinery manage to produce stonework so flawless that it continues to defy explanation, even in the age of modern engineering? The scale that defies logic. The largest Inca structures are made up of thousands of individually shaped stones, each carved and fitted with unbelievable precision. When you start doing the math, the numbers become almost impossible to believe. To achieve this using only the tools we know they had, the Incas would have needed hundreds of thousands of expert stonemasons working non-stop for decades. Either that happened, or they were using methods and technologies that somehow left no archaeological trace. This is where things start getting controversial. Some researchers have noted that the sudden rise of the Incas' incredibly sophisticated stonework coincides with ancient legends about mysterious teachers who arrived from across the sea. In Inca oral traditions, there are stories of bearded, light-skinned figures who appeared long ago, taught the people advanced knowledge, including construction and astronomy, and then vanished. These accounts were recorded by early Spanish chroniclers, though most modern scholars dismiss them as myth. Still, the technical evidence suggests a level of understanding that seems impossible given the known tools and materials of the 15th century Andes. And the tool problem only deepens when you look at their quarrying techniques. The Incas extracted enormous blocks straight from solid rock faces, leaving clean, razor-straight cuts behind. Modern quarrying uses diamond-tipped saws, hydraulic presses, or explosives to achieve that. So how did the Incas do it with nothing more than bronze chisels and wooden wedges? This question has forced researchers to re-examine everything we think we know about ancient engineering. When modern science meets something that shouldn't be possible, computer models don't lie. They're not influenced by personal bias, academic pressure, or historical assumptions. They just process the data. So when researchers began feeding precise 3D scans of Inca stonework into advanced AI systems, the results stunned everyone. The algorithms detected design patterns that didn't match random placement or simple trial and error. The data was so unusual that some teams re-ran the simulations multiple times, convinced there must have been a mistake. The breakthrough came when engineers at MIT analyzed how weight was distributed through Inca walls. What they discovered changed everything. Those seemingly irregular, puzzle-like arrangements of stones weren't random or decorative at all. They were part of a sophisticated structural system, a deliberate design meant to absorb seismic shocks and keep the walls standing through centuries of earthquakes. It seems the Incas weren't just master builders. They were engineers far ahead of their time. The engineering genius behind Inca walls. What researchers once thought were artistic design choices turned out to be sophisticated engineering solutions. The Incas had somehow developed construction techniques that distributed seismic stress more effectively than any rectangular building method known at the time. Incredibly, they understood earthquake-resistant design principles centuries before modern science officially defined them in the 1970s. But the discoveries didn't stop there. When experts began using 3D scanning technology to map the exact contours of the stones, they found something that shouldn't even be possible. The contact surfaces between the stones weren't just fitted. They were matched with precision down to fractions of a millimeter across entire surfaces spanning several square meters. To put that into perspective, even modern industrial machinery struggles to maintain that kind of accuracy over large areas. The fit was so exact that, in theory, changes in temperature from day to night could cause expansion or contraction problems. Yet, these walls have remained flawless for over 500 years, surviving thousands of temperature cycles, earthquakes, and storms. Advanced imaging revealed even more. The stones showed carefully controlled chisel marks and smoothing patterns, not the rough scratches that would result from guesswork or repeated repositioning. This means the precision wasn't luck. It was the outcome of a deliberate, step-by-step refinement process until each stone fit perfectly. When artificial intelligence analyzed these structures, the results shocked researchers. The geometric relationships between the stones followed mathematical patterns that wouldn't be formally described until the discovery of crystallography in modern times. In other words, the Incas were somehow applying advanced mathematical concepts centuries before European scientists even knew they existed. Computer modeling of how these walls were built revealed something else astonishing. The entire structures appeared to be planned and executed as unified systems, not assembled stone by stone. That means the builders likely visualized and designed the entire wall in 3 dimensions before carving a single block, an approach comparable to modern computer-aided design, CAD. This has led some researchers to wonder if the Incas once possessed measurement or calculation tools that have simply never been found. The degree of precision in their stonework implies the use of highly accurate instruments, something far beyond what we associate with a 15th century civilization. What's even stranger is how this skill appeared in history. Earlier, Inca structures show good craftsmanship, but nothing close to this level of precision. Then, seemingly overnight, their stonework became so advanced that even today's engineers struggle to replicate it. The leap wasn't gradual. It was sudden and dramatic, raising deep questions about where this knowledge came from. The earthquake-proof Mystery Peru lies on one of the most earthquake-prone regions on Earth, where the Nazca Plate grinds constantly beneath the South American plate, generating frequent devastating tremors. Yet, through it all, Inca walls remain standing, untouched by forces that have destroyed entire modern cities. In 1950, a massive 8.1 magnitude earthquake struck the Cusco region. Modern buildings collapsed and colonial-era Spanish structures crumbled, except for their bases, which had been built upon original Inca foundations. The upper sections failed, But the Inca stonework beneath them stayed perfectly intact. Not a single pure Inca wall suffered major damage. This pattern has repeated again and again over the past 5 centuries. Time after time, modern buildings fall, while Inca stone walls stand firm, completely unmoved. The results have been so consistent that Peru's modern building codes now encourage engineers to incorporate Inca design principles into new earthquake-resistant construction. But here's what makes it truly mysterious. The Incas achieved this extraordinary resilience without steel, concrete, or modern tools, using construction methods that seem, on the surface, to defy basic engineering logic. How they did it remains one of the greatest unsolved puzzles in the history of architecture. The secret behind earthquake-proof walls. Modern earthquake-resistant architecture is built on one key principle: flexibility. Buildings that can bend without breaking are more likely to survive powerful quakes. But Inca walls appear completely rigid, yet they endure massive earthquakes that reduce modern structures to rubble. How is that possible? Recent studies using high-precision seismic sensors have finally revealed the secret. Inca walls don't bend like steel or sway like skyscrapers. They rely on something even more remarkable, a phenomenon engineers now call controlled micro-movement. During an earthquake, the massive stones in these walls shift ever so slightly within their sockets, absorbing and dispersing the seismic energy. Once the shaking stops, the stones settle back perfectly into place, as if nothing happened. Achieving this kind of balance demands extraordinary precision. Each stone must be cut with exact tolerances, tight enough to keep the wall stable, but loose enough to allow tiny shifts under pressure. If the stones were fitted too tightly, the walls would crack. Too loosely, and they'd collapse. Somehow, the Incas found the perfect middle ground across millions of individual stone connections. To pull this off, they would have needed to calculate how every single block would move relative to its neighbours during various types of seismic waves. Modern engineers perform this kind of analysis using advanced computer simulations. The Incas, on the other hand, did it without computers or even a written mathematical system. Further geometric studies revealed another astonishing feature. Those distinctive trapezoid-shaped doors and windows found in nearly every Inca structure weren't just decorative. Their proportions are mathematically optimized to channel seismic forces safely around the openings. The specific angles of each trapezoid help spread stress evenly, preventing weak points from forming during an earthquake. Incredibly, this is the same principle modern engineers use in finite element analysis, a technique only formally developed in the 1960s. 5 centuries after the Incas were already applying it in stone. Even more impressive is the consistency of these techniques. From the towering fortress walls of Sacsayhuaman to the small homes scattered across the Andes, the same earthquake-resistant features appear everywhere. This suggests not only advanced scientific understanding, but also a highly organized system of training, standardization, and communication across vast territories. All of this evidence leads to a startling realization. The Incas weren't just master builders. They were scientific engineers operating with knowledge that shouldn't have existed in their time. Cosmic architecture and impossible alignments. The Incas didn't just build to last, they built to speak to the heavens. At Machu Picchu, the Temple of the Sun is aligned so precisely that, on the winter solstice, sunlight passes through a window and illuminates a carved stone with millimeter accuracy. This alignment has remained perfect for over 500 years, surviving earthquakes, erosion, and even shifts in Earth's tilt. Their knowledge went far beyond the sun. Many Inca sites align with stars visible thousands of years before their civilization, some dating back to 10,000 BCE. The Intihuatana stone functions as a 3D solar calendar and astronomical computer, tracking the sun and stars with principles resembling spherical trigonometry, centuries before it was formally developed. Some alignments even point to celestial objects invisible to the naked eye, suggesting knowledge far beyond what we would expect. The impossible transportation system. Moving massive stones, some weighing 200 tons, through rugged mountains should have been impossible without modern cranes. Yet the Incas repeatedly transported these stones across steep slopes, rivers, and gorges, sometimes over 20 miles. Many stones were already shaped to final specifications, meaning any mistake could ruin months of work. Some routes exceeded 45-degree slopes or crossed narrow ledges, yet the Incas maintained year-round transport, even during the rainy season. AI analysis reveals microscopic tool marks so precise they could only have been made with advanced machine-level consistency. These same patterns appear on stones hundreds of miles apart, implying a standardized technology or method far beyond our current understanding. Unimaginable precision and engineering. The Incas achieved mathematical perfection in their stonework. Optimal stone thickness, embedded constants like pi and the golden ratio, and assembly methods that required knowing every stone's exact position before construction. Modern simulations show that even with perfect tools, labour and conditions, these projects should have taken centuries, but the Incas completed them in decades. They also managed logistics and coordination on an unprecedented scale without written language or advanced communication, rivaling modern construction project management. The ultimate revelation. AI-driven 3D analysis uncovered construction techniques that defy historical record. Inca stonework uses principles like metamaterial engineering, where stone interfaces act as seismic dampers, neutralizing earthquake vibrations. The entire Inca road network forms a continent-scale system, interlinking cities, roads and sacred sites to process astronomical data and even predict seismic events, like a landscape-scale information network built centuries before modern computers. By all conventional measures, this is impossible. Yet the evidence shows the Incas mastered physics, mathematics, and engineering centuries ahead of their time. Their legacy forces us to rethink the limits of ancient human knowledge. Did the Incas have access to lost technologies? The mystery continues.